What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here, recording this the day of Arsenal's match against Monaco. As you can tell, I'm in a slightly different setting, so we keep it going no matter what, of course. But before I talk about today's game, I just want to address something that I alluded to at the end of my last video, which was, our attacking problems. And I got to start with that Gabriel Jesus chance. Gabriel Jesus is a guy who's been desperate to find form this season and for a long time, even going back to last season, right? His goal in the Carabao Cup this season was his first since January, and he has failed to find the back of the net since then. And so you would think that someone who's so desperate for a goal would have done so much more to try and score against Fulham. There was a ball played over the top that really was well within his reach, and he just opted out of it. He chose not to even stretch out and get a toe on it for what could have been the winning goal, and we ended up drawing, of course. So that just summarizes a very bizarre situation with Gabriel Jesus, and I just don't think that he's on the level anymore. He can be a rotation winger for us, which is what he ended up being at Man City, and that's why Pep Guardiola was okay with letting him go in the end. But I don't think Gabriel Jesus is ever going to be a long-term, big-time contributor to our attack at this point, which is sad to say because, all of us know that he was one of the most exciting players we've seen at the Emirates ever in his first 6 months at the club before he got that knee injury and had surgery during the World Cup. So it's a shame, but that's where we are now. Kai Havertz has come to show his serious limitations as an all-around striker in this side. His work rate is phenomenal. His ability to run the channels and stretch the back line and, make these penetrative runs are all great. And he has shown he's capable of finishing goals off. But in a side that has so much of the ball, I think his severe technical limitations slow us down in a lot of ways. And he does get chances sometimes that he should be scoring, but doesn't. Obviously this wasn't a golden opportunity necessarily, but you think about against United when it was 2-0 and he was through on goal. The way he set himself up to take the shot was not good enough in the first place. And then because of that, he took too long to get the shot off and the angle was closed off because he hesitated. So I think, in order to make our attack click more from open play, we need a striker that's a little bit or a lot more capable of link-up play. And again, Havertz has shown moments, but overall he's shown us that that's just not his forte. And so we're left in a tricky situation with him. Leandro Trossard, he's a player who I think is much better off the bench. And when he starts, he just generally lacks that ability to contribute in the way he does when he comes off the bench. Additionally, I think there are moments where he is selfish, and we would benefit from him picking his moments a little bit better. Again, I don't know if Saliba was offside, but you think back to the Chelsea draw, and had Trossard just not touched it, Kai Havertz has a tap-in. So, Trossard just doesn't have that impact, and Martinelli is another one, right? I still have faith in Martinelli. There was that 1v1 he had against United as well that was very underwhelming. And I think we've started to see the limitations in his one-on-one ability. He used to be a lot more fearless and innovative, I think, but he seems like a one-trick pony now, and he's often reverts to just, rotating and recycling possession. I think with Martinelli, it's much more a symptom of our left-hand side struggling so much to have a consistent setup. Calafiori keeps getting injured, and then Timber will step in, or Zinchenko will start, or Kivior will play there. There's just no consistency. Even at the left 8, Declan Rice is capable of playing in a more advanced role, but I think his long-term future and his best suited position is at the base of midfield as the 6. So Martinelli there are no favors being done for him as well. But at the same time, you sometimes need a player that's going to make something magical happen or just bang one in. I'm just thinking of Lookman's goal against Real Madrid last night. He pulled an Mbappe, the near post finish. Obviously Jude Bellingham's one of the best in the world, but yeah, in that game alone, you saw players who are game changers, and Martinelli hasn't really been that player in a long time. I think Trossard has that gene in him more, but again, that's more so off the bench. And so I look at Arteta in general, right? And I hate to say this, and maybe this is in part me coping, of course, but we have, I think, 6 or 7 defenders injured. 6, either way, that's more than half of our defenders, right? In my eyes, this is me coping a little bit, but I think in a way it's sort of karma for Mikel Arteta only signing 2 attackers in 5 years. It's a little bit bizarre. Arteta signed so many defenders, and because of that, we now have, in my opinion, the best defense in Europe, right, on paper. But we also have an attack that looks flat and short of inspiration and short of that cutting edge. And so I almost look at Arteta's obsession with building our defense now coming back to haunt him in a way because he's neglected our attack. Notice, of course, that Bukayo Saka, there's not a single word that I can say about Saka because he's time and again is the difference maker, and no matter what, he finds a way to have an impact. And when he doesn't, it's just it only further highlights the fact that we don't have other players who can step up when he's not able to make the difference. So really frustrating, and something that we have to be mindful of and really hope that Arteta finally sees the light and signs some attackers, man. But moving on to tonight's game, I don't have too much to say about it, right? If we win, we go second in the table, which is very exciting. I haven't double-checked, apologies, whether, what the other results how the other results tonight could affect that. But a win would, almost certainly, if not officially, secure us a top 8 finish, which means we would avoid the playoff round, which would be great for us, of course. Just less fixtures in what is already an incredibly congested fixture list. Monaco's a good side, though. They're a really solid side. They're only behind us on goal difference in the Champions League table. So they've clearly, had a strong campaign so far in this competition. The main talking point for me is what our starting back line is going to look like. Arteta said that Tierney is ready to have an impact and to get involved. And so if that's the case, he has to start. We can't see any more. And Partey's injured as well, apparently. If Partey was available, then I fear we might see Partey at right back and Timber at left back again. But I never want to see Timber at left back again, no matter how many left backs we have injured. So I'm praying that tonight we will see Timber at right back, Gabriel, Saliba. Well, Gabriel might be injured as well, so Kivior. So let's say it's Timber, Saliba, Kivior, and Tierney. A back four that has never started together, of course. Tierney hasn't played for us in over a year. But we're at that point now. Last video I was critical of Arteta for not playing Tierney. And then, in effect, there was a chain reaction by moving Timber out of his favored right back spot and Partey playing at right back. And, it all just sort of falls down from there. Not to be overly dramatic. We weren't abysmal against Fulham, but we drew and we can't afford to draw. So, yeah, I hope as well that Marino starts tonight. So my starting 11 would be Raya, Timber, Saliba, Kivior, Tierney, Rice, Odegaard, Marino, Saka, Martinelli, Havertz. I think that's our best shot at winning. We should feel very confident about winning, but we'll see how we fare against the strong Monaco side. Folarin Balogun will not be available, unfortunately. He's injured. It would have been nice for him to play at the Emirates and get a reception from the team. But regardless, I will be at the AFTV studio tonight for the watch along. So if any of you want to tune into that as you watch the game, then feel free. I'll make a video hopefully tonight when I get home, if not tomorrow, because I'll get back a little bit late after the studio viewing. So anyways, wherever you're watching tonight from around the world or today, let's get another big win. Come on, you Gunners, and I will talk to you soon. Peace, everybody.